people and put them away because I think a sheriff had somebody arrested because they made a meme about him on Facebook, and it's just
Oh, I
wild that this is
seen that. Bro literally
yeah.
arrested somebody over a meme on Facebook. He's like, well, can you imagine what he'd have done to me in real life? Bro, it was just a fucking meme on Facebook. Are you serious? You're going to say that, well, he would have committed violence against me because of a meme? I mean,
Yeah, and it's
aren't you kind of playing into the stereotype at this point?
well, and it's crazy because he swore an oath to the Constitution as well. Because he's a sheriff, he's an actual elected official. He's not just a police officer or a police chief or anything like that. He's
Yeah.
actually, elected.
So,
So it's just
right.
wild the politics that's being involved all around that takes away liberty and freedom.
Mm, I like how you brought that up, though. You are right about that.
I believe 90,000 Marines invaded Iwo Jima, one of the islands they had to take before they got to Japan. And if memory serves, I think like 13, 15, 20,000, I'm going from memory, died. Let's ask Google AI, or you just go to Google and you can do it, ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, you just type in number of Marines that invaded and conquered Iwo Jima. All right, 70,000 to 74,000 U.S. Marines were involved in the invasion of Iwo Jima. I know there's a 90,000 number. Oh, there it is. In addition to the Marines, the total U.S. forces numbered around 110,000, including sailors and Army personnel. Yeah, I've read a different thing. I think it was 90,000 combat troops, 20,000 support. But the point is, I got it generally right. Duration of the battle, 36 days.
Ew.
Casualties, 26,000 to 27,000 Americans. 7,000 Marines. Okay. Again, the way you look at the numbers, they're broken down. So remember, didn't nail it. It's worse than I said. Sorry. People always accuse me of exaggerating. No.
And if you want me to put it in a more, dramatic terms, those are 26,000 families that will not see a loved one. So there you go.
It's almost always worse.
Well, it's glorified.
It
really is.
So if you look at war, even in public education, right, we're told that our history is all based off of conquest and war. So it's glorified that maybe, and I don't agree with the history or timelines that are supposedly what is, but that's a different story. I digress. But it's always glorified of war. What movies are glorified? War movies, war movies, war movies. Hey, look at this battle. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. These guys are heroes. We give them medals and all this, right? There's a difference between World War I, World War II, and Vietnam and Korea because those are draft era wars or conflicts. Anything after is a volunteer force war or conflict as well. So there's two tiers of that. There's the draftees, which are they just pull your number and say, hey, government says that you need to go to war, and whether you want to go or not. So there's two different ratios of that as well. So, I mean, when we look into these conflicts and what it costs for human life, there's so many casualties, regardless if you're a draftee or you're a civilian on the street. People die in war. People carry the scars of war for generations.
And bro, it just leads into the one big thing about the American tragedy of war, of how it destroys families. Yes, we honor our soldiers for going out there and making that great sacrifice, but let's not forget the families that are affected by this. I mean, kids that are now going to be living in a single family household, they might not get all the care in the world because I'm gonna be real with you. Not like we give these guys a fat ass check for their dead spouse, father, mother, cousin. We're not doing that. So I always do like this, let people know. I hope you guys know, they're making the ultimate sacrifice and it better be fucking worth it. And I don't think this is worth it. To be quite honest with you, if we're going to make our soldiers go all in, it better be worth it. But I guess that's just me. But hey, to some people, I guess this is worth it. Me, I just can't see it. I'm sorry. I just can't see how this is worth it for our soldiers to risk their life for. I mean, I could see why this is worth it for Israeli soldiers to risk their life for, and I think they should. But us, no, we shouldn't be in this. We should bow this one out. But apparently I'm anti-Semitic for thinking so. But all right, let's get back to it.
Opposing force, 21,000 Japanese dug in is the problem. Okay? So, and you can say, well, we got high-tech weapons. When you actually try to take land, though, boots on the ground, Pentagon estimates are hundreds of thousands of troops just to take it, tens of thousands of casualties. Unbelievable. So here's Lindsey Graham saying, hey, The Marines are on the way. And we took Iwo Jima, yeah, with 110,000 troops, 76,000 Marines, 20-something thousand dead. And there's Lindsey, who was just a lawyer in the military. I bet he couldn't tie his shoes when he was in the Army. Okay, definitely can't find his ass with both hands. He used to know how to stick his tongue out of his mouth constantly. And so, here is Mr. War Demon saying, hey, we took Iwo Jima. You know how many Marines are going? 2,000. They're sending a contingent of the airborne. It's like 5,000. So they're saying that 8,000 U.S. troops. Have you looked at the Strait of Hormuz? 2,000-foot cliffs all around it. Thousands of square miles, mountains all above it, with the main military all dug in with all these islands and the main military base there all dug in. Unbelievable. So we're supposed to take on an army. The Iranians have a 1 million-person regular army, about 2 million extra. They estimate there's a couple 100,000 there. So 7,000 U.S. troops are supposed to take on the worst terrain in the world, totally dug in against hundreds of thousands. Here's Lindsey, military expert Graham.
Here's the thing, though. As we're moving to these small islands, all Iran is doing is setting up their soldiers and, of course, their missiles on the coastline, ready for us. Like, they're waiting for us. Like, they're over here tweeting at us, talking about come closer. So here's the thing. I'm not saying that we can't beat their ass, because we can, and we will. But at what cost? That's the problem. Because we can't pretend like it won't be a cost. It's not going to. It ain't a Mortal Kombat fight. There is no flawless victory in this.
And I think I mentioned it on your platform before, is that Iran is terrible terrain. It's terrible. It's a terrible ground war terrain. And I don't care which army wants to fight that war. It's terrible. So yet again, can we be diplomatic? Yes. Do we want to be? No. And who's pushing the buttons behind it? I think we know. It's just crazy that you have mainstream media pushing this narrative, and then you have the independent media trying to point out the logic and the events that happened that pushed us into this war. And it's kind of crazy that people still want to disagree with that. I mean, I always say just look at the timeline of documents that are released by our government and go off of that. If you want to believe pundits, that's fine, but always go first-hand sources. And where do you think they're getting their information from?
Exactly. But all right, let's keep going.
Program has been obliterated, and they're running out of money. So here's what I tell President Trump. Keep it up for a few more weeks. Take Carg Island, where all of the resources they have to produce oil. Control that island. Let this regime die on a vine.
Is this going to, though, take Carg Island? Is it going to involve U.S. troops on the ground? Let me just read you something from The Atlantic. Does an assessment on that. They say U.S. troops may well take Carg Island. We believe their ability to do so, but only to endure ballistic missile strikes, drone attacks, petrochemical smoke, all without a reliable means of obtaining logistical support. The result could be a grinding war of attrition. They talk about how far away they would be from resupply.
I'm sort of tired of all this armchair quarterback, and this has been an amazing military operation. God bless the fallen.
But it's a difference when we talk about troops on the ground.
I trust the Marines.
He's a piece of shit for saying
not that guy. I trust DOD. We got two
Marines.
Marines.
Bro, that's exactly what you're doing, and you never served a day in your goddamn life. Like, bro, what do you mean armchair quarterbacking? I remember when Sid went off on him, he was like, bro, that's exactly what this bastard is doing right now. And second of all, I'm like, bro, you don't even have the skill set. But then guys like him are going to talk about guys like Joe Kent who do have the skill set and the experience. But okay.
And then he says, God bless the fallen. Like, what a piece of shit.
Like, literally, let's all listen to the guy named Lindsey, guys.
Expeditionary units sailing to this island. We did Iwo Jima. We can do this. The Marines, my money is always on the Marines. I don't know if you take the island or you blockade the island, but I know this. The day we control that island, this regime, this terrorist regime, has been weakened. It will die on a vine. And here's what I want to do. I want to get with Chris. I want to sprint to peace. As the war winds down, I want peace to ramp up. The reason we don't have Saudi Arabia and Israel making peace is October the 7th, 2023, Iran through Hamas attacked Israel, stopping normalization. I want to take up and complete what Biden started.
So complete and total crap. The Iranians aren't going to give up when that happens. The strait will still be closed. And so they're saying, we'll cut off your money. They don't care. The Pentagon already gave an assessment that is accurate. Hodge Twins, what do you say?
Let me say this. When we invaded Iraq, you don't think Iran...
I mean, here's the thing, bro. We try to cut off their money and destroyed their, currency. But here's the problem. They just start using Chinese yuan. I mean, that's the problem. Like I said, we're about to turn Iran into a BRICS nation at a certain point.
Iran was watching. They knew this day was coming. Yeah. They've been preparing for this for decades. Yeah, not to mention Iran, they have home field advantage. I mean, so far, this whole operation, this war that America and Israel is waging on Iran, they failed to understand that we do have a superior air force. They don't even have an air force. So everything thus far has just been missiles and bombs. But as soon as you send troops there, on land, on foot, the advantage goes to Iran. Yeah, like you said, Alex, they got over 1 million soldiers. If they send 2,500 Marines and then 5,000 Army, I mean, that's a suicide mission. And not to mention, if they try to take back the Strait of Hormuz, it's just a grinders. It's almost eerie of that movie. What's that? The jet movie that just came out. I forget. Top Gun. When they flew in the jets in those canyons and mountains, that's a lot like the Strait of Hormuz. So if the United States really honestly think they can go in and maneuver their way and take over that, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think they could eventually do it, but at what cost? Yeah. How many American soldiers are going to die for Israel? Yeah.
Well, you just nailed it, and that's what I want to say to start the segment. Thank you for reminding me. Lindsey Graham is actually smarter than he acts. He thinks we're dumb. It's called, and it goes back actually to Persia, is where they think chess was invented, but we know the first writings of it, because I looked this up years ago, is in Persian, and it's called a pawn sacrifice. Guys, look up pawn sacrifice in chess. Pull up that move. And that's where you draw people out the way you want, sacrificing a pawn or lesser piece. And listen, it's a cold-blooded thing about being a general. It's what they teach at West Point. You don't like...
I'm a chess player as well. And yeah, you do got to sacrifice even important pieces that, sometimes you got to trick the other player into thinking that you lost your queen. Is like, oh yeah, you think the queen really matters in this game of strategy? Gotcha, sucker. And, you give up, you pretend to give up something important to make your opponent feel comfortable, and then you really fuck them up with other pieces.
Well, it's that way in boxing too. If you're one-on-one with somebody, I mean, that you give a feint to give them to let them expose themselves as far as their reactions. You start getting their timing down, and then you get your distance, and then you just start peppering the fuck out of them with shit that he don't see coming. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. You get your footwork in there, but yeah, I got to get running here. I appreciate you letting me be on here and speaking. I got an interview set up with somebody that's pretty important coming up. I got to wait on the final confirmation. But I appreciate you, sir.
Hey, guys, make sure to follow my man, Lunatic Libertarian, on his channel, man. Appreciate the support, my man. Shout out.
You always stay free and peace.
Hey, man, you too. All right, let's get back to it, guys.
It's a decision you got to make. You'll send in 100 troops, 1,000, whatever it is, as an expeditionary group, because back then they didn't have drones and satellites, to draw at the enemy to get a look at their strength. And you'd have scouts behind that would see what happened to the guys you sent on a suicide mission. So maybe you get 500 guys killed, but you win the war and save 100,000 or whatever. This is a pawn sacrifice. They are now, we'll get Americans involved once we trap 7,000 U.S. troops and Marines on a death trap island surrounded by mountains and passes in their most fortified area, and then everybody's going to go ape when that happens. So this is a false flag. So let's go back to pawn sacrifice for me real quick. All right? Let's pull up definition of pawn sacrifice real quick if we can. You just had it there on screen, but it's okay. A pawn sacrifice is in chess the intentional giving up of a pawn to gain a significant strategic or tactical advantage, such as faster deployment, better peace activity, or an attack on the king. Now, let's be clear.
I mean, you low-key, bro. You could trap somebody into taking a piece, taking your pawn, and turn the entire game around on them just because they made the mistake of taking that pawn.
It doesn't just get us drawn more in. They think with the American psychology, because I think up front, people are going to get pissed. Like if they blow up an aircraft carrier, actually the first response will, okay, now we want full war. Now later, people will figure it out. But more importantly, we will find out where they're hidden bunkers, where, you know, artillery pops up, missiles pop up. They're going to be watching all that when they're obliterating our troops. But do we really want them doing that when we were told this wasn't even a war or the war was over, Hodge twins?
Yeah,
Right.
Trump said it's already won, but we don't know when we're leaving. And Maga's still contemplating if it's a war or not. No, it's operation. We're in a 40-year war, and Trump is trying to end it. It's just all BS. It's just this bait and switch that Trump has pulled over is the people that supported him, and then for them to just hop, just to follow along, it's just mind-boggling. It's kind of disappointing because I thought doing the right was way more objective than the left, and it seems like the right is just as bad as the left because a lot of objectivity on both sides are not there.
Like I said, people forgot what they stood for, and they're going for who they stand for. And I guess who they stand for is Trump, no matter what he does. And that's a bad thing. It's like I said, when Trump started breaking promises, I think the only way to steer Trump back on track is actually show that, yo, you will lose this entire base if you don't fulfill your promises. When we showed Trump that he could do whatever the fuck he wants and still gets all of our votes, still get the support, we're basically dealing with somebody that's unaccountable. And I mean, if the base ain't willing to hold him accountable, like I've always been complaining about how the Dems don't hold their politicians accountable, then yes, we're going to get an unaccountable politician, just like how the Democratic base created their unaccountable politicians. We're making the same mistake that they made.
You know what I'm saying? The left and the right is two sides of the same coin. Yeah, the voters. I'm actually really disappointed in the right. Yeah. Because when I criticize Trump on Facebook, I get attacked. I get called Democrats, Muslim sympathizers. It's like, it's really frustrating. Even when you point out that he's lying, they still don't want to say that, hey, I agree with you. No, it's just, it's almost like they're slaves to Trump. It's almost like, it's like cultish in a sense. And that's what destroyed the left. The Democrats, there's no objectivity.
Well, exactly. Because they don't want real constituents putting pressure on Trump to do the right thing. They want him isolated and then to cut off his real supporters. So that now the neocons, the globalists have full control.
Right. So you think that's what's happened? They've circled Trump and he's not hearing the real message from his true supporters?
Oh, he's always had trouble with what they call bubble wrap. But back to the earlier question, it is ridiculous. I mean, they're literally calling not just Joe Kent, but I've seen articles attacking you, others, saying you are, quote, conducting a coup, a neo-Nazi coup against the Republican Party when it's literally a foreign globalist Israeli coup. They're literally, so what is it like to learn that you're white supremacist conducting a coup?
I don't know to say. I'm speechless. I kind of like the white thing. Yeah, I always want to be white. That was a joke.
But seriously here.
But like Larry Loomer, she tweeted out something that she has information on these anti-MAGA, these fake MAGA conservative talking heads online and say she's giving it to the FBI, the CIA. Yeah. We need to go to jail. Yeah, and for them to call us grifters, especially you, Alex, people calling you grifters, us grifters. Like, if I was a grifter, I wouldn't have anything critical to say. I would just bravo at everything Trump does. That's a grifter.
Well, let's be 100% clear. I've never gotten money from Democrats or any NGO. All I get is lawsuits and attacks from them. And supporting Trump, all I've gotten is hell. And I never was doing it for money, and I didn't have all the money they claimed I had, but I lost 98% of what I had. I'm happier than ever, quite frankly, because I didn't have much extra, but it's kind of good to downsize a little bit. And I wasn't living that large to begin with, but it's my integrity that matters. I never get up and say something off of, will this be popular or will this make me some money? I literally am always about what I think's right. That's just how my brain works. Right. And, you know, they've got studies out about it.
It's like, guys, you got to understand, too. It's like, honestly, I could have went along with a lot of things that MAGA or that Trump has done, and I'd have continued to get more money. I'd have gotten more money, more followers, more engagement if I'd have just, you know, folded on a couple of topics. Like, what was one topic that I lost a lot of people. Oh, yes, the pro-Palestine position that where I'm thinking, oh, well, why not give these guys a two-state solution instead of bombing them to death? And yes, Israel is basically committing a genocide out there. Yeah, well, Maga did not like that, and I lost a lot of guys with that one. And it is what it is. I stand on that position still to this day. And then, of course, with this Iran war, it's like for some reason, it's like, hey, yo, I mean, he said he wasn't gonna do it because of all the bad outcomes, and we're going through some of these bad outcomes, yet you guys are still supporting. I mean, what's going on here? And now I'm the un-American guy, I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom and all this wild stuff. Like I said, it's like anything but hold our politicians accountable, I guess.
People that don't lie and train themselves not to, your brain doesn't even do the calculation to tell a lie anymore. You just spit out accurate info, which your subconscious and unconscious is hundreds of times more powerful. And now they found with Grok, the reason it is the best, gives the best answers, works the best, has the less hallucinations, like times 4 than even the next best one, is when you tell something to lie, and you tell all these other AIs show everybody's black, so George Washington's black, everybody, the thing starts hallucinating because lying's hard, you know? And it's that simple. And I've literally trained myself because I've told lies. I mean, not about consequential things or really things on air. But, you know, in my life, I've, you know, hey, did you steal $20 out of my wallet? My dad say, oh, no, I didn't do that. I don't want to get my ass kicked. I just wanted to go buy some chewing tobacco. But the point is that I've just learned not to lie. And like I got pulled over like 5 years ago. They go, have you been drinking? And I said, yeah, I had a half bottle of sake about an hour ago. They said, get out. We're doing a sobriety. And I said, look, my Achilles is blown. It just blew all the way. I can't walk around and hop and do this. They said, all right, you're going to jail. They drive me right in, test me. It's below the number. And the publicity was great. And the thing got dropped. And the cops were like, later I saw them because they're like, wow, we're surprised when people lied. You know, we'd have let you go. You said you hadn't. We had to do that. Why didn't you just tell us you hadn't been drinking? And I said, because I've gotten to this point where it was like I was paying a sacrifice to not even tell that lie. You know, so your wife says, does this look good? Nope. You know, I mean, I've just gotten to the point where it is so good because my brain does not even do calculations now about what do I want. It's what does my brain know is accurate. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Yeah, you have a conscience. Yeah, like when Trump was lying about that school, I could see right through him. He was lying. It was like, why would you lie about something like that? I understand in war, mistakes happen. Yeah. It's best to be honest about it. Take ownership.
I mean, what was crazy was about the school thing was when even I spoke out about it. I was like, guys, this is looking like us. And everybody was like, you're un-American for saying that. And I'm just like, I don't know, guys. Like the blast map points to us. I mean, the strikes. Oh, S.E.T, how could you not believe that it was Iran? It must have been Iran. Well, guess what? It's proven to not be Iran, and it was us. So, yeah. But here's the thing. It's because I wait for, well, all the proof to come out. And as they slow rolled out the evidence, it was pointing more and more towards the United States. And then there was some delusional people who wanted to sit there and be like, no, see, you got to look at it like this. You got to see the missiles going at this angle. It is easy. Look at this picture right here. It had to be from Iran. I'm just like, yeah, look. I understand Iran's not this, you know, well-to-do regime like trust me, I know Iran is I told her the Iranian regime has done some atrocities, but I'm sorry, but shooting a school full of girls is even a bit much for them.
Accountability. Why are you lying about it? The truth is going to eventually come out. Hey, Alex, I got a quick question for you. What do you think Trump meant when he said, when oil prices start going up, when he said, we're going to make a lot of money?
Well, that's another thing is, doesn't Trump know that oil, he said this many times, energy is the base of any good economy and is what determines inflation more than anything. So he's like, oh, the U.S. has the biggest production.
Oh, no, my bad. Speaking of oil, I had to go look at oil prices real quick, and they're up. Yep. And, you know, people like to look at WTI, but really it's Brent crude oil what's important. And that, of course, is trading over $100. And once this goes over 100, which it looked like it's about to, yeah, we're in real trouble, guys. We're in real trouble if this keeps going up. Like I said, and once it hits 120, yeah, man, I mean, things is not looking so well already. But the fact that it's over 100 is already bad. 120, I mean, guys. Good Lord, a 200, man. I mean, what would they call that? Oh yeah, a global economic collapse. Yes, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah. God forbid, though. God forbid, of course. But yeah, that's oil prices right now. And I know people, when this is the Brent crude and the WTI, this is what mainly we go off of. I mean, this is pretty much where we're selling our oil at, but this is what the world's mainly getting their oil at. This is very high price right here. Tough. But man, is the short-term pain over yet, guys? Is it over?
Make a lot of money. Yeah, but it doesn't really filter out like that, so it's going to kill your recovery. So what he does now is anything one-dimensionally he thinks is good news, he'll spin any bad fact. And he's just gotten to the point where, because I got to tell you, in the past, I know the facts, I know the issues. And Trump was one of the most truthful people I ever saw when it came to everything. Right. And now,
that was
I mean, you see him 4 or 5 times the same day, changes the story. And so, I mean, here's the deal. He's 79. Well, I'll tell you what's going on in a minute, but I think you know. I mean, his brain's going. And I don't mean he's got dementia. And I don't mean, listen, I'm 52. And if I end up working till like 8 or 9 at night, I mean, I turn into a complete idiot. Even if I'm not drinking, and I've cut back and sometimes gone 6 months on drinking. But I can literally, if I'm exhausted and have like 4 drinks, I'm drunk. Whereas I'm at the beach and not tired, I can drink 7 drinks, don't even feel it. But now I'll sit there when I haven't even been drinking for 2 weeks, and it's 8 o'clock at night, and I get home and I worked all that time. I sit down for a minute and wake up face down at 2 a.m., didn't have a drink. I just passed out. Trump is a total workaholic. He sleeps 2 or 3 hours a night. You see him slurring his words now, a lot of stuff. A 50-year-old couldn't.
Oh God, do me a favor and double tap that screen and like the video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Appreciate the support.
Do that. And so what made him so strong, the workaholic, Scottish German blood or whatever, is now what's going to bring him down because he is exhausted.
Yeah, he does have a motor on him. Yeah, he came out here at Vegas, did a rally before he won his election. It was 125 degrees here in Vegas. Yeah, he was on stage. He did a meet and greet before us when I first met him. He went on stage in a blue suit and his red MAGA hat. It's 130 degrees. He's on stage for so long. People in the audience said, "Man, this dude needs to shut up or he's going to kill everybody." My phone got so hot. Right. While watching him, my phone turned off. And my phone got.
Let's see here, $580 million oil trade made minutes before Trump's key Iran announcement draws scrutiny. Oh wow! Oh yeah, inside trading, of course.
It's so hot, right? While watching him, my phone turned off.
Nothing new here.
Kept talking, so I do understand because he is a workaholic. Yeah, and that might be what's going on with him. He's working so hard, and it's
it is. That's all. I'll say it officially. It's not 25th Amendment thing because he's not. Except it is. Here's what Trump is. Trump has Asperger's. I've talked to people that have assessed it. He has Asperger's.
Whoa.
Which is a lot of, and he's highly functioning. The things he knows, he's obsessed with. And so he really he thinks he's doing well. But man, 79, 3 presidential runs, like you said. I told people he'll be in like Alabama, 107, humid, Vegas, 125. And like, I mean, when I was like 20, I was in great shape, could do 100 pull-ups at once. The whole gym would be clapping. I'd go to a UT football game, the first game of the year, and it'd be like 105. And I one time literally started to pass out and had to leave. In my prime, I couldn't sit out there for 2-3 hours in 107. Exactly. He's crazy. And so at the end of the day, that's what we have here is, and you can see him physically. He ain't looking good. So,
yeah.
And I'm not giving him an excuse. I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Because me and my brother, we tour a lot. Well, we used to tour a lot. And the physical capacity you got to have and mental, not only physical, but mentally going from city to city on a tour doing comedy and to see what Trump is doing, I know how hard that is. Yeah. So that might be the issue that he's having. But your previous guest, known him 20 years, she doesn't recognize him. Right. We don't recognize him. It's like something's going on. And that might be the issue. Maybe he's working too hard. No, I think he don't have the right people around him. I think it's a combination. I think he's compromised. Yeah. It's got to be. Yeah.
Fair
he doesn't. It just seems like he doesn't really care about Americans anymore. Yeah. He doesn't care about the things he ran on. Yeah, the only people that benefit, the only people that benefit from this war is Israel. We don't have nothing to gain, because if Israel takes over Iran, and just imagine what that's going to look like with over 90 million people. If Israel gets a hold of Iran and makes that part of the Better Israel project, just imagine the power Israel is going to have with all that oil in the Middle East. Yeah, but that's impossible. I mean, we was in Afghanistan for what, 2 decades? Yeah. As soon as we left, it was like we were never there. How are you going to pull this off in Iran?
Well, remember 25 days ago, I came out and I saw you guys and said it's not going to work. And it's not like we're geniuses. We can read the military assessments. They're almost always accurate. And they told him, don't do this. Now, he had the head of CENTCOM and others saying, go ahead and do it. But that's already failed. So there's no reason to even argue this. And that's why Iran, remember 2 weeks ago, Trump says, okay, here's a peace deal. They said no negotiations. And then he goes, I'm going to obliterate you. Unconditional surrender, to make it look like he was being tough. Now he sends them a new plan. Okay, 30-day ceasefire, all this stuff. And Iran said, are you joking? No, we're not stopping.
Yeah, these are different breed of people. There's not transgenders walking around in that society. This is a society full of real men. Yeah. These are men. That society is a theocracy. They're very close to how the Old Testament, how they lived back then. Yeah. This is not like an American, a bunch of transgenders they did in the army. And all the women are becoming OnlyFans models. It's like, I mean, let me ask you this, Alex. Fox News, they always try to implicate that Muslims are our enemy, that the Nation of Islam is a threat to the United States. I don't actually believe that. I don't think none of that is true. You was going to say something? Yeah, that's what's being fed to us. I mean, why do Iran, people of Islam, of that faith, Muslims, why are they our enemy? It's only because of our relationship with Israel. If it was
our relationship with Israel, our interventionism in their countries would destabilize them. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why. Like I said, people complain about, oh, well, they cry death to America. Well, do you know why they do that? Because if you look up the history of why they do that, you'd kind of feel them. Because, I mean, if some country came in and overthrew a president who was trying to do the best for, your country, trying to get your people a better deal on your resources that's in your country, and, some bigger country came along and just took out that leader and installed their own who's going to give to not your country, but the other country that just took out your leader that was trying to do for you, how would you feel? Well, I know what you would do as an American, filled with the American spirit. You would overthrow that. So guess what? That's exactly what the Iranians did. And that's exactly why they have this death to America mentality, because we literally tried to control their resources and their government. So and they traded that out. They traded a government controlled by us to a government that can never be controlled by us unless we just take it out.
For Israel, we'll have a entire different relationship with the Muslims. Yeah, I want to say this. Like when Trump and like the boomers on the right, his supporters on the right, you think we can just go in there and destroy the army and that's how you're going to win the war? That's not the same war that Iran is fighting. They want to destroy the economy. Yeah. World economy. The world economy. And they don't have to win. They don't have to win the war. They just have to destroy our economy. Yeah. And they win. And they keep saying they have a regime change there. Regime change means absolutely nothing because their culture will live on regardless of who's in power there. Yeah,
well, that's in the assessment, but you guys raised something. We got a whole other hour coming up here in a moment. We'll break. You guys aren't really taking breaks, so you're welcome just to go live on your stream during there. We were having some fun during the last break, because I thought we were simulcasting and you guys were live during the breaks. But I've actually studied the sociology, the anthropology, the archaeology, the history of all of this, and the different factions. And you could teach a triple PhD in it. And I'm not saying I have that, but it would take a triple PhD to understand it all and the history of it. But Islam was very barbarous and a real death cult set up by Muhammad. And then it got stopped by the Crusades and pushed back. The Crusades were a response to 700 years of attacks.
Wow. Yeah. I love the revisionist history because Alex Jones is a Christian supremacist. So I already knew he was going to have a terrible take on this. But let me tell you the weirdness in that, or the I would say the inconsistency. So apparently it's okay for Christians to do forced conversions in the name of Jesus Christ. But when Muslims do it in the name of Allah, it's now, oh my God, they're so evil. And yes, during the Crusades, there were forced conversions. Yeah, the same forced conversion that you were complaining about Muslims doing. But here's the difference between Muslims and the Christians in the Crusades. Muslims actually allowed Christians and Jews to actually live up under them. Christians actually just killed you. Like, they just killed you. And it was a forced conversion. It's either Jesus Christ or you die. So, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, yeah, and the Crusades was enacted on by a man, a pope, acting as if he can carry out the word of God to send man to go kill in the name of Jesus. I mean, what's more blasphemy than that? But okay, though, the Crusades was just such a good thing, though. Okay. But as I was saying, it's like, oh, okay, well, then doesn't that make Christianity a death cult as well? Since there were various kings who were Christians who also had an expansionist nature and who also killed a lot of people to spread Christianity. And of course, there are borders as well. So can we also say that Christianity is a death cult? I mean, if we're being consistent.
That was long before Israel was around, modern Israel. Israel had been around since 70 AD. That's when Titus, the Roman general, sacked and destroyed Jerusalem and tore down the temple, the second temple they want to rebuild. The first one was, of course, Solomon. And the second one got destroyed in 70 AD by Titus, the order of Emperor Pompeo. They want to rebuild the third temple where the Dome of the Rock is right now.
Yep, the Alexa Mosque.
So this is all so well documented in history.
And here's the thing, no, it wasn't a death cult. Like, honestly, here's the thing about like the caliphates and all that good stuff at that time, which was the religious leaders of Islam at that time that was expanding the borders. What they were doing, what every other empire was doing, was conquest. It had nothing to do with their religion. It had everything to do with them wanting to expand their borders for resource reasons. Just like how the Crusades popped off. I mean, for one, I'm gonna be real with you, for resource reasons as well, because they did take land, they did use their resources, and they were committing forced conversions. So it's just like, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be consistent, you can't sit there and only condemn the Muslims. Then you also got to condemn the Crusades as well, because I mean, some man, a pope initiating the Crusades, sending a bunch of men to kill in the name of Jesus Christ, a man, like, really? And that's not blasphemous to you guys? For some man to send some soldiers out, Christians out, to kill in the name of God, who said that killing is wrong and that you should try to love and understand your enemies. So, I mean, this is really going against the teachings of Christ. But for some reason, Christians act like this is just like such a great moment in Christian history, when it's one of the biggest atrocities in Christian history.
It's a huge subject, but just the Crusades were a response to 700 years of war. They almost took Poland. They took much of the Serbia and all that. They kidnapped at least 5 million, mainly women, out of Spain. They took 90% of Spain for 500, 600 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what everybody did. I mean, Christians engaged in taking women as well and putting them into the slave trade, because, I mean, that's what people just did, was enslave people. So it's kind of just like, hold on. Why are you trying to act like Muslims were the only people operating like that in that time, when everybody was operating like that? Every empire, no matter what religion they were operating like that. Gruesomely, by the way. It didn't matter what faith you were.
Only the Moors survived up in the north of the mountains. And they're actually basically Neanderthals, weren't the only group in the world, but long story. So you have that going on. And so in the modern parlance, yes, what stirred up the Muslims and helped fund their more, I don't call them radical, because really they're Orthodox Muslims. There was a major reform after the Crusades of the Muslims. A lot of their expansion slowed. And then even up until the 70s and 80s, it was rock and roll, Playboy magazine, most of the places. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but you know what I mean? It was reformed in most areas, and it was integrating and it kind of had a reformation. But the CIA, with British intelligence, even before that, started funding all the Muslims and the most radical groups, starting, well, the British about 120 years ago, but the U.S. after World War II. And so it's beyond, if it wasn't for Israel, if it wasn't for British intelligence and the U.S. and then the Israelis picking up on it, creating, Israel created Hamas. You guys know that, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Carter, Al Qaeda, all that, and then and then Reagan, Mujahideen. So it's all declassified. And so the problem is the people driving Islam were put in by the globalist to now create this clash. We'll be back in 2 minutes with the Hodge twins. They want me to keep going. I'll explain it because it's all on
Well, no, they're not driving Islam. No, they made these guys the global representative of Islam, even though Muslims didn't choose them to be the global representative. The globalists did to push out this fear of Islam. Because if your average image of a Muslim is, well, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, then that's all you're ever going to think of Muslims as, these type of people. But if you thought of Muslims as, I say, what, the one in Americans, the one in Jordans, the ones that are, Saudi Arabia, the peaceful ones, the ones that we're cool with, then you wouldn't really think that bad about Muslims like I do. It's like, I know a lot of good Muslims. And I know a lot of good Christians. It's the reason why I have no hate for either group. But I don't like when each group hate on each other. And it doesn't really do anything for us at all. At all. I mean, what, we got Christians talking about we need another crusade, and I'm just like, against who? And in America, y'all really shouldn't be talking, because I'm like, what, y'all scared of 5 million Muslims when y'all got over 100 million Christians? And of course, if you guys Christians want to beef amongst each other about what denomination is right, I mean, shoot, then I guess y'all want to join to y'all numbers even further. And at that point, what won't you divide yourself by?
All right, I want to ask the Hodge twins this before we join some stages of 6 after, and I'll finish up with my brief history lesson. I have some interesting clips. I just so happen to have a stack today. We've got former top counterterrorism official John Loftus, and military expert, on how the CIA is really run by the British intelligence. Then the Nazis took it over in World War II, and then by British intelligence in the U.S., and now by Israel. Of course, he was like the number 2 in counterterrorism, John Loftus. I want to kind of explain that to people that it's pretty sophisticated. But let me ask you guys this question. It's paradoxical. Again, I'm really upset with Trump. I'm trying to get him back on course. More and more, I don't think it's going to happen. Israel's literally trying a domestic takeover, not just foreign stuff. They admit they are. I mean, incredibly dangerous, statements of threatening people, saying we're Nazis and all this. What do we do about the Democrats, though? Like, what's going to happen if they win the midterms, or if they get back in the White House in 2.5 years?
I'm afraid that this war is going to go so bad. We're going to lose the midterms, but we're going to lose it so bad that we're going to lose the House and the Senate. And if that happens,
bro, we're going to be praying on a sensible Dem to win the to win the primaries for the Democrats, and pray to God it ain't Gavin Newsom.
If Democrats have the vote,
AOC.
Not only will they impeach him, they will remove him from office. Yeah. And if they have that amount of power, what will they then do? Yeah. I mean, we're kind of caught at a rock and a hard place, because who's going to believe us that the left is crazy when you got Trump casting this war over Iran, and we losing, hopefully I'm wrong, thousands of American lives. I mean, what power will we have? I mean, the GOP is just ruining everything that we put on we gave them pretty much a silver spoon for them just to take over, and for the next decade or two, for this country to start leaning more moderate, and right, at the very least more moderate, if not more Republican conservative. But now they painting this bad reputation over Republicans like we warmongers, we killing United States citizens in the streets with ICE. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, we can stay positive, do the best job we can. Hopefully, Trump can turn this thing around. Hopefully,
all right, guys, I got to go ahead and close on now, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We've reached that 4-hour mark, but I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys out from a word from our partners, guys at Kalshi. Make sure you guys go ahead and sign up with Kalshi with my promo code, S.E.T Media. I'm gonna go ahead and play that ad though. But this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate the support, guys, and make sure you guys double tap the screen and subscribe to the channel on your way out. All right, guys. Peace. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market. People trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people, kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's Kalshi.